Okay, here we go. How's it going, everybody? We'll give everybody a few minutes to kind of start coming in. We got 17 viewers right now. So we'll give it a few minutes. And basically, the purpose of this stream is to just talk to you about the 2023 Bad Design Challenge. Just for some context, the idea of this is it's just a competition for fun. It's just like a stupid little competition to basically do a bunch of memes and shit posts. We did this in 2021, and actually a lot of the people who ended up participating in it went on to become really good designers, which is kind of funny. In fact, Dawson Wood, I think, participated in it. He had a really interesting entry. Kadar Benjamin, I think, got second place. And I think the first... I don't want to tell you guys too much about the details of last year because I want to see what you guys come up with on your own. But let's see how it goes. Hot sauce bottles. I like your cardboard. Oh, yeah, that's Nicolas Cage. We'll bring him in later. We'll talk about him later. So I think we're ready to basically announce the competition. Let's just get started. Okay, so like I said, we did this in 2021. We did a little skip in the years in 2022. But this year, we're finally doing it again. The 2023 Bad Design Competition. Now, to get started, it's pretty easy. You just click the link below to join the Discord server. And if you're not sure what Discord is, it's basically just a private chat room where we can share our bad design entries and progress work. And if you're not interested in creating bad design abominations, that's totally fine. You can still join in and just watch and see what other people are designing. There are basically two Discord channels in there. There's the actual like pre-entries or like the process work, and then there's the final entries channel. It all makes sense once you go in there. Just to be clear, this contest really isn't about winning or losing. It's just about having fun. So I think that as designers, we maybe take ourselves a little bit too seriously, and this is just a nice way to let loose and do something fun for the community. So let's talk about criteria. The more dangerous and harmful your design is, the better. I want ideas that just completely redefine stupidity. I want dangerously bad designs that are brilliant at the same time. It's hard to actually do that. It's hard to make something so stupid that it's brilliant. As long as it's PG-13, it's fair game. PG-13 is fair game. Like last year, I got a bunch of spiky sex toys for some reason. Like it's not PG-13, first of all, and it's also not very original. I got like 6 entries for that, and I had to flag them. So just don't do the spiky sex toys. It's played out. Your goal is to create a design that's like completely useless. Like, I don't know, a teapot made out of some kind of material, like a chocolate teapot, or, you know, a completely inappropriate suit. Let's say like a tie-dye suit for a funeral, or like a diesel-powered toaster, something that's as good for the environment as a diesel-powered toaster. We want this thing to just be completely off the wall and ridiculous. When we ran this contest in 2021, the winners of the contests, like I said, were actually really good designers, or they went on to become really great designers. Many of them were students. So to make a bad design, you actually need a good designer's brain, but you just have to do everything backwards in reverse, basically. So that's basically the criteria. Keep it simple, keep it stupid. Now, you know the saying, play stupid games, win stupid prizes. Well, same thing applies here. Let's talk about what you can win. Third place for worst design gets the shirt t-shirt. Let me pull this up really quick. Shirt. Let me just check and see what the chat is. That Elvis? Yeah, it's Elvis. I just am checking. I'm checking to make sure my audio levels are good and everything. Yes, they are. Okay, nobody's complaining. If anything's messed up, feel free to let me know. I feel like that's going to invite a lot of trolling, though. But whatever, that's the internet for you. Okay, so third place gets this really upsetting, poorly kerned t-shirt. Second place gets the fancy font t-shirt. And first place gets the Galactic Glyphs t-shirt. It says shirt actually in an alien script, but it also has a secret message underneath. And yes, I actually made up an entire alien alphabet for this one. The shirt hides a cryptic message promising wisdom and fortune to those who can decipher it. Now, if you bought this shirt already, you actually have the decoder that tells you what these letters say, and you know what this and what any other future messages say. So here's another secret code for you. Bam. If you make a topic that is this product category written here, you actually get bonus points in the competition. I fully acknowledge that this isn't fair, but if you're looking for fairness, this is not the place for it. It's the bad design competition, not the fair and good design competition. You're thinking about this all wrong. Another cool thing about the first prize is you also get access to my Form Fundamentals Industrial Design course for free. So totally free. If you're already a very senior designer, that's okay, and you don't know if you'd benefit from it. You can also gift it to another young designer in the Discord or whoever else. You can also buy these shirts on designtheory.store, and many of you have already bought them, and I really, really appreciate that. You guys are the best. So that pretty much wraps it up. I guess I've mentioned this a few times, but it's I can't belabor the point enough. Like, the competition is really just for fun. The prizes aren't exactly life-changing. It's just a way to get together as a design community and just goof around for a little bit. It's also worth mentioning a bad design competition wouldn't be complete without bad judging, so you can bribe me and the other judges if you want. I have a particular liking for all things Nick Cage. Let me bring him into the shot here. If you send me any of his memorabilia, that's always nice. Oh God, don't fall. I don't think Nicky's gonna make it. Here, we'll just keep him in frame with me here. No, we'll put him over here. But yeah, I'm really into Nick Cage, so anything with that for bribes is great. That gives you extra bonus points. I'll also accept cash. Cash is fine. Carrots are always good. Carrots are kind of a staple. But check out the link in the Discord and start sketching out your ideas. The competition ends 2 weeks from today at midnight Pacific Standard Time. I figure I might as well do a little Q&A while you guys are here. If you guys have any quick questions for me, you're more than welcome to ask. But otherwise, I'll probably just end the stream. So yeah, I'll give it 30 seconds. We'll see what's going on and if anybody has any questions for me. So we just aim for third. Hugo, you can just buy the shirt too. I mean, nobody's going to stop you from doing that. I hate to shill my merch so blatantly, but you could do that as well. How about a 25-minute video on the architecture of the wall Nick Cage ran headfirst into in Vampire's Kiss? Yeah, I like that idea. I don't know. Do you have any advice for how I would make it a 25-minute video? That's the real question. Dawson asks, what is the secret code? The secret code? Well, dude, you got to decipher it. Actually, it's funny. There is one person who was able to decipher the code without having bought the shirt and without me having given him the t-shirt. He was pretty into it, I guess. He was really into that idea. Are we allowed only one submission? No, you can do as many submissions as you want. How many? Yeah, you can make as many submissions as you want. Is there any deep lore behind the carrot joke? No, it's just stupid. That's why it's funny. It's completely idiotic. Hits for the secret code. Well, you can buy the shirt, the incredibly overpriced t-shirt. There aren't really any hints for it, though. I mean, I don't know how the guy figured it out. I don't want to give any hints away because I'm curious if you can kind of figure it out for yourselves and see if you can do it. Is the code guitar? No, it's not. It is not guitar. Okay. We'll give it a few more minutes. Also, actually, now that I have you guys here, I'm curious. What do you think has been good about the last couple of videos? And what do you think could be better? It's very rare that I have a bunch of viewers in one place to tell me what I'm doing well and what I could do better. I don't know if it's very evident, but I try to make each video better than the last in some small way. And yeah, I just want to make the videos as good as they can be. So I'm curious, is the code BOFA? No, David, the code is not BOFA. Oh yeah, shout out to David Genkin. David is an industrial designer that I've been working with on a project with a client for a little while. He's a really good designer. You guys should hire him if you're looking for industrial design work. Is the code... That means it's not guitar. I mean, it's really legitimately not guitar. The code might have some of the letters, I can't remember, of guitar, but it's not guitar. I'm new here. You're great. Thanks, Bazakin. It's a great name. But yeah, I think we'll give it like a few more minutes. Pacing has been dramatically improved in the past few videos, letting each topic and point breathe. Yeah, so one thing that's interesting is that if you look at some of the older videos, I just try and talk really fast and hope that keeps people interested. But more recently, I've taken the time to actually understand storytelling techniques to basically keep viewers engaged and interested. And look, YouTube definitely has its problems, don't get me wrong. But as a medium for like conveying information, it's pretty amazing. Like I think YouTube has actually made me a much better teacher because there is nothing more fickle than a YouTube viewer. You literally have the entire internet at your fingertips, and keeping people interested requires a certain there's sort of like an art form, and there are a lot of techniques to it, and I've been taking the time to really learn that. Hey, Joe Moms. Very, very clever. Thank you, Kang, for the nice words. Video on future of spatial computing UX in the future. So, Aman, I actually did a video on that a long time ago. It was not about spatial computing. It was about augmented reality. And yeah, I mean, I think it's a little bit older. It's from like 2021, I think. So it's maybe not the best video, but it's good as an overview. I would have made that video a lot differently today. But yeah. Please do a video on review design of camera drones. Nah. I mean, I could. Another thing I was thinking about doing is like I used to do these really in-depth design analyses on products and stuff, and it just like doesn't make sense anymore because in order to get the number of views that I need to get in order to appease sponsors, I kind of need to do less niche topics and more broad topics. And that's a little bit unfortunate because there are some really detailed things that I'd like to talk about, but I can't. So that's actually why I started a Patreon. So a big shout out to my patrons. They're actually the ones who allow me to do these kinds of little contests and stuff, and I really appreciate it. Do I like Pokemon? I do like Pokemon. How do you know that? I guess it's not a hard game. I guess most people most millennials like Pokemon. They grow up on it. Clark, the code is not theory. Let's see what else. The code is not design. No. Maybe it's just because of not being American, but in the design manipulation vid, I felt a lot of the examples didn't really apply to me. There are a lot of potential reasons for that. Here's what I would say. I think that most of the examples laid out in that video are cross-cultural. They're actually evolutionary almost. They go beyond just culture. So it could be that you just are not very self-aware. That sounds really mean. Maybe we're the ones who are not self-aware and you are ultra self-aware. So who knows? It could be one or the other or something in between. Probably something in between. Was Steve Jobs a really good designer? Oh, thanks, Sophia Isabel. Was Steve Jobs a really good designer? Was he a designer? Was he a designer? I don't know. Like, you could make the argument that he just sort of yelled at people and told them to do things. But there is something to be said for having an understanding of all of the technical constraints and working with a team to basically realize a creative vision. So I don't know if that makes him a designer or not, but I don't know. I don't know. He was an interesting guy because you could make an argument that he didn't do anything, but I don't know if I agree with that. I've heard a lot of people say that. I don't know if you'd consider him a designer, but he's certainly an influential person. Let's see what else. Am I good at graphic design? Nah, I'm pretty bad at graphic design, honestly. I really do focus more on industrial design. I do design most of my thumbnails, but those aren't exactly like works of art. They just are pretty much completely optimized for click-through rate. I'm not going to explain what click-through rate is because I don't want everybody's eyes to glaze over. But Kang says, design is communication of ideas. Yelling and money is a form of communication. Very, very true. Yes. And the thing about, I think this is in reference to Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs was really good at getting his team to do what he wanted. Obviously, a lot of those techniques may have been highly questionable. And they might even be things that I personally would not have done, but maybe that's why he's Steve Jobs and I'm me. So who knows? Or I always wonder, like, would he have been even more effective if he wasn't so tyrannical and mean to his employees and all that other stuff? I do wonder, like, did he have to be that way? It's hard to say. Would you do a video on architecture? I have done a couple videos on architecture. You can definitely check them out. They're not explicitly about architecture per se, but I do talk about architecture. The thing is, I want to try and focus on things that I know a lot about, that I actually have expertise in. I think that's a big thing that makes the videos what they are. I think that's what makes them good. The fact that, I've been working as a designer professionally for like 12 years. So because of that, like, I can speak with relative authority pretty often on most of what I'm discussing. That doesn't mean that I don't get things wrong. I definitely get things wrong. That's actually one thing about YouTube videos that you guys might not know. If I get something wrong in a video, people will tell it to me over and over and over again, like years later. Like if I've made mistakes in my videos from a couple years ago, and I'm still getting comments about those mistakes, it's like you will never live it down. Now, that isn't the worst thing in the world because you're forced to basically make sure that you get your facts right, but nobody's perfect, but I do the best I can. I worked in visual effects and really liked your AI art thoughts videos. I find it very annoying when people are just like, scary thing is going to take our jobs. It's about adaptation and always has been. It's funny you mentioned that, Drew. The thing about AI is, like, I don't think I understood it when I made those videos, but it's very evident now. This is more than just another tool. This is a tool that is capable of sort of adding creative input into the creative process. Solar Sands did a really good video on this that you guys should check out. I don't remember what it's called, but it's by the YouTuber Solar Sands. Go check it out. And what he said was, and I agree with this, it's something that I've noticed as well, is that like the AI actually makes creative decisions on your behalf, which makes it fundamentally a different tool, and the implications of it are very different. I don't know if it's a good or bad thing, but it's progress, so there's that. Aman says, I love the design manipulation video. Please make more videos on brand design and how it affects the audience. Yeah, I'll probably do a couple more. I want to do one that's about propaganda, which is basically just, propaganda essentially is branding. Branding is propaganda. It's just that branding, like they were able to rebrand what propaganda is. But I want to talk about propaganda as it relates to sort of inciting and moving social movements forward, whether that's political or otherwise. Okay, Joe Moms, great name. Joe Mom says, someone needs to design baby products that can be utilized with one hand, inspired by carrying grandkids. Yeah, that's a good point. I'm surprised nobody's done that before. I agree, Joe Moms. Someone please leak the code. I pay top dollar for code. Yeah, look, if you guys figure it out, that's fine. More power to you. And if you guys want to share it with the community, that's totally fine. Like, go ahead. I don't care. In fact, there are people who own the shirt already. And if you want to share it, you're more than welcome to share the code, but you already know that there are implications for that. If you decoded it, there's a whole bunch of rules listed and stuff that explain what the implications of that are. But yeah, if you want to share it, go for it. The pictures in the secret code are design names. No, that would be kind of cool. It's not quite that clever. I love your channel. I think a video about biomimicry would be great. I agree. You know who actually did a really good video on biomimicry? There's a YouTuber named Dammy Lee, Damilee. She does a bunch of really great videos. Dammy Lee, if you ever see this, I'd love to do a collab with you at some point. I think you have really great content. But go check out Dammy Lee's video about biomimicry. I think it's her most recent video. Go check it out. It's pretty good. Sirwan says, it's amazing how your videos are mostly about industrial design, but designers from all different fields watch them. Yeah, it's pretty cool. I think there's a lot to be learned from industrial designers and their unique perspective, and it's largely underrepresented in most design circles. So it's pretty fun to be able to sort of talk about what the larger implications of our field are. Product Designer Maker says, oh, I think I recognize Product Designer Maker. Love your chat. Can you briefly explain your understanding of the difference between industrial design and product design, please? Well, that's a complicated. Well, it's not that complicated. Basically, um, product design and industrial design used to be interchangeable, but then what am I trying to say? Digital product design sort of took over the job title, so now industrial designers have to call themselves industrial designers, which is like mildly inconvenient because product design is a lot more explanatory as a title when compared to industrial design. Because industrial design is like, oh, what do you design, factories? But product design, it's a little more straightforward. Hold on one second. I'm sure you said. Are the all other words also from left to right? Olivia asks, on the shirt, you said the top word was shirt. Are the other words also from left to right? That's for you to figure out, Olivia. That's for you to figure out. But somebody did figure it out themselves, so it's not impossible. Somebody figured out the code. They decoded everything. Nicholas Baker, hello, John. I am ready for bad design. So Nick Baker used to be the troll king in my Discord server. By the way, go check out the Discord server if you haven't already. It's like the way to participate in this competition. Nick Baker used to be the troll king, but unfortunately, he changed his name to something more anonymous because he doesn't want to associate himself with being the troll king as opposed to a good designer. But here's what I would say, Nick Baker. There's no reason why you can't be both. I recommend that you embrace your trollish nature and integrate it into your design work. That is my recommendation. It could backfire miserably, who knows? But I think it would be a lot more fun. Will you make a video on Beatles correlation to design by Aman? That's kind of an interesting question, actually. I wasn't planning to. I'm curious, Aman, do you have any thoughts on how I might approach that topic? I'm not exactly sure how I would do it, but it sounds interesting. I'm a big Beatles fan, for whatever that's worth. What is the answer to you don't have experience? Asks PR Visuals. Well, it depends on the context in which it's asked. I know that's not really the answer you were looking for, but I mean, you can make your own, you can just do your own design projects and then create your own experiences. I'm a freelance industrial designer. During your 12 years in the design industry, have you come across any interesting ways of sourcing new work, new products, projects, and clients? Cotting Wamplin around asks. So have you, well, yeah, YouTube is one way. I basically started this channel because I had gotten laid off in March of 2020, like everybody else, because of, the whole thing when we were all stuck inside for 3 years or whatever it was. So yeah, I just started a YouTube channel and it ended up working out pretty well. The Discord channel link is in the description for anyone wondering. Somebody mentioned. Shreyas asks, can you shift from a coding job to a product design job just based on the portfolio consisting of personal projects? Yeah, I don't see why not. You could also take on some professional work if you want. It also could be a real benefit to be able to do your own code also. So I think that's cool. Nick Baker says troll design will be the next trend. I think it's actually beyond that, Nick. I mean, I think you would agree with this. I mean, look at all of the trends happening. I think troll design is already the next trend. I mean, think about all the Astro boots or Astro Boy boots by what was it called? Mischief. There's a whole bunch of troll design happening right now. The Cybertruck, you could argue, is a troll design. John says, I'd like to see a video about more sustainable design, repairability, design for aesthetic and functional longevity. Yeah, he mentions that sustainability means a lot more than just recycling plastic or using recycled plastic. The thing about that is it's immensely complicated, John. I did a 22-minute video on it and it like barely scratched the surface. That would almost need to be its own YouTube channel. So that's the thing about that one. Tanti Dlamini asks, do you happen to know any AI design website called Viscom? If so, what is your experience with it? And do you happen to have any designs from it? Tony, so I have used Viscom. I've actually talked about it a few times in my videos. When I first started using it, it was okay. Like it was decent, but not amazing. Now it is spectacularly good. Ever since they got on, I believe it's the Stable Diffusion AI model, and used that data set, it's pretty spectacular. Another thing is that they're really in tune with the copyright aspect of design, and making sure that artists have permission to are giving permission to use AI in a way that is, fair and just. They're one of the very few companies that don't allow you to type like in the style of blank designer. And I think that does show a certain sensitivity. Another thing is that their data set, I'm pretty sure doesn't I don't know if this is true, but I'm pretty sure that it doesn't contain any artwork, which is pretty cool. Bazakin. Sirwan asked, let's talk about Sirwan. Would you recommend any books about good design? Would I Yeah, I actually have a video about that. I also, yeah, there's a video. I don't remember what it's called, but I can look it up later. But you can look through my YouTube video library and see for yourself. Bazakin finally asks, do you have any interest in controls? I currently work as an operator and find there's an element of anti-intellectualism that limits usability of machines to simplify or eliminate training. So here's the thing, Bazakin. Most of the so is this for I need a little more information, actually. Is this for like industrial use machines, Bazakin, or some other kinds of controls? Give me more context and we can talk about that, because I've designed a lot of controls before for different things, and the more context you give me, the more information I'll be able to give you. Jack White too, he's quite a designer. I don't know what that's in reference to from A. Let's see. Kyo-san, have you thought about doing a second channel? I have, yeah, like for the niche content, doing a second channel. I have thought about just doing like super low stress, very simple, like almost like a live stream format like this, where I literally just sit in front of the computer and just talk about designs. And there's no like editing, there's nothing like that. And I just like talk about the more niche questions that you guys have. I think that actually would be something that might be really useful. Aman asks, well, different composition journeys. Oh, this is in reference to the Beatles. So he's asking, like, can you talk about the different compositions journey they did on their own songs, the hippie experience, the aesthetics? There's so much to find between Beatles and design. That would almost need to be a video about that era, like the 60s and to a lesser extent the 70s. That would almost need to be a larger overarching video, and the Beatles would be a bigger part of it. I don't quite know how to wrap my head around how to present it. The thing about YouTube, and this is one of the tricky things about YouTube, is you can have an amazing video, but if you don't have a catchy title and thumbnail that like is clickable, people aren't going to watch it. So you might spend months researching something, and it's kind of like demoralizing when nobody watches it. And then you also have responsibilities from your sponsors to make sure that you get a certain number of views and conversion, all that kind of stuff. And once again, that's why I want to do either second channel or maybe like a Patreon that allows me to basically talk about those kinds of niche topics in greater detail. Jason Kamard says, hi, Jonathan. Fun fact, my full name is actually John, John. That's my full name. Bazakin says, okay, so Bazakin asked earlier, like, do you have an interest in controls? And he's working as an operator, and he's saying there's an element of anti-intellectualism that limits usability of machines to simplify or eliminate training. And he's saying that he operates heavy equipment. You're in a wheel loader right now, as in like right this minute, you are watching YouTube live streams while in a wheel loader. Anyway, we'll see what he says to that. But the question is, like, why is there this anti-intellectualism? Well, look, this is kind of messed up, but most of the purchasing decisions around heavy machinery are made by people who do not operate the machines. So it's the company owner who's making the purchasing decision. And they might not know about the usability, like the importance of usability with the things that they're buying for their employees. Another thing is that they might simplify the controls because they want their workers to be interchangeable, which is really messed up, but that's capitalism for you. They want you to be an interchangeable cog in the wheel, basically, so that if you leave your job, they're able to replace you easily with minimal training. And that's really messed up, but that's probably why they're overly simple. There could be other good reasons too. It might just be that it actually is safer, even if you lose a little bit of control. But we'd have to talk about specific examples in order to discuss that. Oh yeah, Jack White video is similar. Yeah. So A was saying, she's just clarifying what she said. Philippe Leupold asks, what is your opinion about interior design of modern day cars? Do you think that huge screens will go away again in favor of buttons? So I think that the touchscreen has a lot of benefits from a manufacturing perspective and in some ways a usability perspective, because you can endlessly update software, right? And that's like pretty attractive. Another thing is that there are fewer moving parts, so there's debatably a lower likelihood of failure. That's debatable though. You could easily make a counter argument to that. But I think that buttons will come back. I really do. I actually have a prototype from a client sitting on my desk, and we are of the philosophy that buttons need to come back to hardware devices. I wish I could show you. I'm looking at it right now, so you'll have to wait and see what that is. I don't know if David is still in the chat, but he's helping me with it. He's helping us with that design as well. Siwan asks, how do you think a customer recognizes a great designer through his portfolio if he is not a designer? Oh, that's a tough one. So the answer is that they don't. They don't know. They don't really know. So they'll typically rely on other factors like social proof, credibility, whether they're an authority in the space. And that's why a lot of the best designers are often not the most popular ones, which is kind of interesting. It's funny, and I've actually experienced this firsthand. I haven't updated my portfolio in like 2 or 3 years. My work is a lot better than what's on my website, but I have far more client inquiries now than when I did before I had a YouTube channel. And that's just a testament to the fact that really it's more about like your credibility and authority in the space than it is about the work itself. Because once again, people just don't know how to evaluate design work. I mean, that's why they're hiring a designer in the first place. That's also why design awards are a thing. Like design awards, basically you have to pay a bunch of money to enter, and then you have to pay thousands of dollars if you end up winning. And I think in a lot of these competitions, like half the people get the award. But the reason why a lot of consultancies pay that amount of money is because they need some kind of differentiator. They need to have some kind of credibility. And of course, the client doesn't know that, the client doesn't know that the design award isn't really any sort of legitimate predictor or indicator of a design success. So they're like, oh, well, this person won a design award, so they must be good. So a lot of it has to do with like credibility, being an authority in the space, social proof, all that kind of stuff. It's kind of annoying, but that's just kind of how it is, unfortunately. Joe Mom says someone should design headrests in cars. I don't know if this is a joke, with a donut hole in the middle so you can put your head back when you are wearing a ponytail. So that's a bit of a niche use case. Maybe I'm a little bit biased because I am a man. I do not have a ponytail. But yeah, that's something. Let's see what else people are saying in the chat here. Yeah, Cody and Craig says, tactile feels completely underrated in modern design. Buttons, switches, weight, materials are what makes an item feel high quality and satisfying to use. Not only that, if you have a button, it is a physical visual signifier that you can visibly see at all times. And that is incredibly valuable. It's a lot more valuable than some button that's hidden in some like software interface that could be buried behind like several submenus or something. So, yeah. Axel Wilkstrom says echo sound. Is that in regards to the audio, Axel? Or let me know if there's any issues with the audio. The Alessi juicer is real peak design, says Theodore Jones. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty good for what it is. Cool. I think we'll probably wrap it up in about 5 minutes. So any last questions? Now's your chance. Any last questions for Design Theory, your favorite internet niche micro celebrity? Now's your chance. Ask away. Here we go. Otherwise, go check out the link in the description in the Discord. Go check out the Discord and start entering into the competition. The rules are at the beginning of this video, and there's also rules written in the Discord, so I can't wait for you guys. The audio is definitely being recorded twice. Echo issues, definitely. Oh, guys, I'm so sorry. That's really weird. Well, I'm sorry about that. I'm just curious for when I live stream in the future, was that happening for the entire video or is it more recent? Because right now, my audio levels are pretty good. They're maybe a little high. Let's lower it a little bit. There, we'll quiet it down a little bit. Yeah, that's pretty good. It shouldn't be a problem. What if I turn this down? Testing. Did that fix it? I'm testing now. I want to see if this works. I'm just talking, and right now what I'm doing is I want to see if the audio levels improved by changing one thing. I changed the levels on one thing. Okay, that did it. Okay, it's fixed. Awesome. Thank you, guys. Okay, yeah, so I basically had two things running at the same time. Sorry about that. Okay. Let's see. All right, let's read the questions now. Play us some guitars before you go. No, I mentioned this in another live stream, at least I think I did. I'll play the guitars when we reach a million subscribers. Got to reach 1 million subscribers. Okay, so any last questions? Yeah, I screwed up. So what happened was I think I actually was recording with two mics. I think I was recording with my webcam mic as well as this mic right here rather than just one of them. And there's probably been a progressive lag. Cody and Craig asks, can you become a good designer if you spam your sketchbooks and drive home visual design principles, flow, hierarchy, dominance, etc., etc.? So short answer, yes, but it's a little more nuanced than that. So basically, if you want to be a really good designer, you're going to have to think in a wider context. Now, what I mean by that specifically is okay, let's say that I'm designing something that's on my desk. Let's say I'm designing a pair of calipers, right? So we got these calipers here. I can focus on basically just designing these and the user interaction of them and creating a good hierarchy and clearly conveying the information on it and making it usable. But I think if you really want to get to the upper echelons of design, you have to think of your design in sort of a larger systems thinking context and approach. And I actually mentioned this in the last video. Everybody talks about Dieter Rams' 10 principles for good design as being the design Bible or these amazing principles. I don't think they're great. I think they're good for the time and for what Dieter Rams was trying to do. I think the real thing that makes Dieter Rams so special as a designer was his systems thinking approach to design. So he wasn't just designing the thing. He was designing the larger system that the thing fit within. So this was just one piece of the puzzle. You think of the entire user experience from start to finish. And I think that's really the mark of a great designer, at least in my opinion. Internet Spaceship says, I love your videos, man. What mic is that? Sounds very nice without that reverb. Yeah, I'm sorry about the reverb, guys. My apologies. This is a Samson mic. I don't remember the exact brand. Or the brand is Samson. I don't remember the exact model name, but it wasn't that expensive. I think it was under $200. For the quality, it's pretty damn good. Anything about sports equipment? Yeah, I don't know a lot about sports equipment. I mean, I surf a lot, so there's that. I recently got into kite surfing, which is oh my God. If you want to get the shit kicked out of you, do kite surfing you can't even begin to imagine the amount of power that a 10-meter kite has. Like, it'll just send you flying like 30 feet in the air. And that's a lot of fun if you know what you're doing. But if you don't know what you're doing and you're first getting started, you basically just get launched in the air multiple times, and it's not fun. But it is a lot of fun once you actually get going and start doing stuff. To what extent do you believe form follows function? I've mentioned this several times, Hritik. I think that form and function are one and the same. Form dictates the way that you will resonate with the object, and it dictates the way that you'll interact with it, and that sort of helps to guide and determine the function. I don't think that you can separate those two things. And this is not a new idea. This is, I thought that I made this up, but it was actually Frank Lloyd Wright who beat me by about 100 years. Amin asks, I'm having trouble in knowing what colors to use to evoke the required kind of emotion in users. Can you explain this color emotion topic? So, Amin, one thing to remember about color is that it's highly contextual. It's contextual in terms of culture. Just as an example, white in Western cultures typically represents purity, whereas white in Eastern cultures, like the Far East, sometimes represents death or sadness or all sorts of things like that. I might not have that right. Talk to somebody who's actually from Japan or China, but I'm pretty sure that's the case. So I think, generally speaking, as a good rule of thumb, if you want to bring emphasis to it, make it a brighter color. Another good rule of thumb is you don't usually need to go as saturated in your color scheme as you think you do. Most people tend to go way too saturated with the colors that they use. But just as an example here, let me see if I have something on my desk. Yeah, so we can use this. If we use this again, you'll notice that there's like this little red button. The on-off button is red. That's bringing emphasis to that element of the design, right? Now, this looks really bright. This looks like a really bright color, but actually this, if you were to actually, screenshot this and use the eyedropper tool in Photoshop, you would see that it's actually not a very saturated red. It's got a lot of like sort of low saturation, like white in it. It's a fairly muted tint. It's just that it's against this black background and it's a fairly colorless object. That's what makes it seem very bright and saturated and punchy. So a lot of people, they go too overboard with color pops and saturation, and that's like another really good example of how much it depends on the context. So like in the context of this individual object, this is very saturated. But if you were to actually put it in isolation on just a white background, it wouldn't really pop that much. Yeah, Kang says, think about all the different ways to catch a mouse rather than a better mousetrap. I agree 100%. PR Visuals asks, what are your advice for beginner graphic designers? I'm sorry, I can't help PR Visuals because I myself am not a graphic designer. A general rule of thumb, once again, is to just make a lot of stuff and evaluate it critically. Ask other designers for feedback. That's actually a great use of the Discord server. If you check out the Design Theory Discord server, which is also where this contest is taking place, there is a Get Feedback channel where you can share your work. I sometimes jump in there and give feedback, but usually somebody else will as well, and they'll tell you how to improve your work. So basically, the answer is do a bunch of work, but don't just like mindlessly create things. Like go through feedback cycles. Like get advice and feedback from more senior designers and see how you can improve your design. Weird Tara says, about contextual meaning of color. Same rule applies to music. For some cultures, major chords are happy and minor chords are sad. Reverse can apply for different cultures. Yeah, I mean, that's a great point. And another thing is that there are even like, there are things called microtones in a lot of Eastern music. And there are a lot of very unusual time signatures, for example, in Indian music especially. They do use all sorts of crazy rhythms and unusual time signatures. Well, they're not unusual to Indian people, but to American people they are. Designer Junior asks, have you ever had a moment in time during any project that you feel that you could not afford the materials for your design? If so, how did you fix that issue? Okay, so Designer Junior, I need a little more context for this. Can you tell me, do you mean for a personal project where you cannot afford materials to like build prototypes, or do you mean for a client and they don't have the money to like make your design in whatever material that they want? Let me know what the answer to that is, and I'll answer that more clearly. Yeah, anybody. Sir1 asks, can graphic designers join the Discord? Anybody can join the Discord. Anybody can. You don't have to be an industrial designer. You can be any kind of designer. Kang says, for the bad design challenge, take everything John is saying and inverse it. Yeah, I mean, that's one way to approach it. I wouldn't call myself the authority on industrial design or anything really, but I have a perspective on it at least. So you could do it that way. Okay, I think we'll give it 5 more minutes for real this time, and then we'll wrap it up. So for real, any last questions? Now's your chance. I hope you learned something. I had a lot of fun talking with all of you. It's been a lot of fun. And once again, go check out the Discord link below. And I really look forward to seeing your contest entries. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. And last year, it's interesting. A lot of the people who entered and won ended up becoming really, really good designers. So I don't know why that is. It could just be because if you have as like enough of an interest to like do a bad design competition, it just naturally selects for people who are really passionate about design and they just are naturally really good, or I don't know. But Designer Junior clarified his question. So basically, he's having trouble affording the materials for his design. Oh man. And it's for a university project, and he's creating a plywood flat pack side table. Yeah, I mean, look, I remember I was a student. I did not have a lot of money either. If you like, it's tough. The more that you can do, like, to try and stretch your dollar the best you can, the better off you'll be. Like, what I'm trying to say is, like, if you legitimately can't afford it, then you can't afford it. But it's worth trying to invest in those kinds of things as much as you can, because it's basically an investment in your future. You know, taking the time to do these things right with the right materials and all that kind of stuff, it'll make a big difference in terms of the overall output. Okay. Yeah, and Kang says you can get by with thrifty materials. I agree. You absolutely can. You can also find a lot, like, at least for me, at my school, like, there was a whole scrap. Hold on, let me take a drink of water here. Sorry, I've been talking for like 45 minutes. There was a lot of scrap at my school. Like, there was a whole furniture studio, and obviously they're making these huge things out of wood. They're making huge, like, wooden furniture pieces, and there would be like big leftover chunks that were like this big, which for an industrial designer is more than enough to make a prototype with. Ahmed says, I want a book that talks about design principles and how to apply them in industrial design, like form and proportion. So there really isn't a great book on that. That's why I started the course Form Fundamentals. If you want to check it out, it's pretty damn good. And it's pretty much the only thing of its kind. There is a teacher who used to teach at Pratt University named Rowena Reed Costello. It might be Costello. And she actually developed a lot of the principles for form and proportion and everything like that, but unfortunately she passed away. She has a book called Elements of Design, but I bought it and I did not find it very informative in terms of teaching the principles. It was more just kind of showing her process. It was more about just kind of showing what she did and like talking about her legacy than it was about actually explaining how to apply the principles, if that makes sense. Nicer Dicer asks where to look to keep up with new and good designs, or which brands are worth watching. I would say just like, what am I trying to say? Focus on what you personally think is interesting. Just like follow your bliss, man. Just find your passion, bro. No, but seriously, like, you should focus on what you're passionate about, and hopefully that aligns with a company that will want to hire you. And if not, then you can start focusing on, trends and stuff like that. Designer Junior says, thank you so much for the help. Yeah, no problem, Designer Junior. Okay, we're going to end the stream. Go check out the Discord link below. Join the competition. It's going to be a lot of fun. Play stupid games, win stupid prizes. I love you all. Have a great day. Peace. Oh, wait, last one. Quick one. What's the book which changed your worldview in the greatest magnitude, not necessarily in the design theory domain? Oh, God, it's so cliche. And somebody asked me this before. I don't even like telling people this because it's like kind of lame, but there's a couple books that I really like. Number one, in terms of just like a beautifully written novel, I really like the book Lonesome Dove. Very, very impactful book. Beautifully written book. Another book that was really impactful for me was The Old Man and the Sea. Great book. The themes in that book are pretty spectacular, and even though the book itself is very short and very simple, you can read it in like an afternoon. I still come back to it every couple years and just reread it again because it's just so damn good. And then another book, and this is like the cliche one. I don't want you guys to think I'm like some weird conspiracy theorist, but I really like the book 1984. That was a very, very impactful book for me, as cliche as it is to say that. But, I think that these sort of cliche, impactful books are cliche for a reason. I mean, they're damn good. So, yeah, that's pretty much it. All right, everybody. Oh, thanks, Luke, for getting the code shirt. Once you get your shirt, last thing, just DM me on Instagram or message me on Discord or any of the other socials. Don't write a YouTube comment. I get too many YouTube comments. But if you DM me on Instagram or write to me on LinkedIn or message me on Discord and you send me your order number or send me a picture of the shirt that you got, I'll send you the decoder. But yeah, thanks, Luke, for the support. I appreciate it. All right, everybody. That's it. Have a great day. I love you. Go check out the Bad Design Competition. You're the best.